Okay, so everybody, we're back again with Gachiakuta chapter 13. Vandals, as always, straight into it. We're gonna go over the chapter chronologically, then we can give our thoughts. Liam, how you doing?
I'm chilling.
Okay, awesome. So, chapter opens up. Obviously, before we say anything, Volume 1 is on sale now. Get off the video, support the official release of this shit, because I want it to continue, and it's not going to continue if it doesn't get any sales. So, go buy it. Anyway, we continue off from chapter 12 when these weird, suspicious-looking dudes trapped our heroes, and Zanka refers to them as vandals. And then we hear Gris talking about it. He says that basically they're a group of bandits that used to kind of just be like everyday thugs, but over time, you know, over the years have organized into a group of like organized crime, with all of them being givers. So that kind of confirms that like not every
Don't forget
giver...
they're quite vicious as well.
Oh yes, they're quite vicious, yeah. And it confirms to us that like being a giver doesn't just mean that you become a janitor. Like you can kind of do whatever you want, which is expected. And so then Gris goes ahead and tells the rest of the helpers to create some type of escape route because they're trapped, and that's pretty much that. He also, I guess, is going to help them as well, because he tells Zanka, hey, just handle it, bruh. And then he's like, whatever. And Rudo's kind of just being chill in. Like, I mean, he's obviously worried, but he's not doing anything. And then he tries to tell Gris that he can help take them out, which is obviously, you know, bullshit. Rudo can't do jack. And then Gris explains to him that that's clearly not realistic. They're not the same. They're not just everyday thugs. They are givers. They could literally do anything. We have no idea. So he tries to get Rudo out of there, and successfully. And then we're left with the beginning of what I guess is our first like real fight scene.
Fight, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously fighting the Aberrant Beast was a fight, but like this is a real like fight with stakes. So Zanka is about to fight these dudes, and he's kind of just trash talking them, explaining how their aim is to get those, you know, sky people for all types of nefarious reasons, human trafficking and all that. But then the Vandal clarifies and he says, didn't plan on selling him. He actually just wanted to get information out of him. And then he explains that he wanted to know how Rudo crossed the border alive. I don't know if he's referring to the Forbidden Zone or something that we don't understand. What do you think?
I mean, I'm thinking maybe there is something that is in between the heavens and the shitty little ground people that stops people from the ground from going up, but also usually has the same effect of stopping people from the heavens from going down.
That would make sense, because if you remember, there was this moment when Rudo was falling to the abyss, into the abyss, I mean, and he fell in between the clouds.
Yeah.
And you saw that he saw something. It was humongous, and it was in between the clouds. And then like Rudo's eye glimmered, and then he obviously fell through the second layer of clouds and then into the abyss. So maybe that's some sort of, I mean, what I think it is, but again, this is completely baseless. I think it's a giant aberrant beast that probably
would make sense.
Eats dudes or something. It keeps them from like what you said.
Gotta remember, when they're executing people and dropping them, they're dying. They're supposed to die, right? And I can't imagine living down here in the shitty underworld, right? You see many people fall and then live. So to see like a sky person fall and be alive is like, what the fuck? There has to be some sort of thing that makes that person special in a way.
Yeah. But sky people falling seems to be a regular occurrence because of the executions that they do in heaven.
Sky people falling and living.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Them being alive is the abnormality that they care about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, Zanka explains he doesn't care. He's obviously curious about the border thing, but he doesn't care about the heavens. He's pretty much just saying how it is. This is a trap. There ain't no aberrant beasts, and time to fuck you up. And then this fight starts. So now we see that these vandals have some sort of ability to make clay dolls. And that obviously was what that creepy lady from the last chapter was. The one who gave the call. She was a doll, which is very interesting because that doll was able to move independently and it was kind of intelligent.
Yeah, and it looked not like gross.
Yeah, so like I don't know what the extent of her power is, but it's definitely not just some basic dolls that she can make. Like, I don't know if she was controlling that other one from the last chapter remotely, like a drone or anything like that. But Zanka is confused, and despite what we might have thought, Zanka is skilled, but he's not used to fighting people. He's used to fighting aberrant beasts. And so he kind of gets screwed up by these two, and he unironically forgets that Krillin exists. And then Krillin just gives him a big old wallop and hits him in the face. Yeah. So then, they're boxing. Vandal Lady is kind of just trash talking him, explaining how she's clearly not used to this type of stuff. I'm guessing they are used to this kind of stuff. They probably don't fight aberrant beasts at all, and they probably only fight people. But Zanka ain't gonna take none of it. He's still gonna give his best. So, they're going at it. Some obviously awesome art, throughout the entire thing with Zanka.
And great fighting.
Yep. Zanka getting punched sometimes, beating up some of the dolls. Zanka low-key getting his ass beat. But doing his best to kind of just control the situation until he tries to do a wide sweep with his weapon, his Jinky, sorry. But then his feet get stuck in the ground because apparently Vandal Lady used her power to make the ground muddy beforehand, which makes it so he can't move around too much or be very stylish without getting stuck. So he's kind of forced to just really do these focused, slow, short-range actions or risk getting stuck again. And it kind of is like checkmate right there. And until he pulls a Shikamaru and says, "What a drag." Well, that's how you know it's over. That's how you know it's over. When he says, "What a drag," the fight was ended. The fight ended right then and there.
Easy.
Right? When he considers you a nuisance and not even a challenge, that's it. When he be using words like irritating rather than, challenging or shit like that, bro, it's done. So, he seems to have seen through their tricks. Apparently, they actually were, kind of low-key fooling him by making you think, and the audience too, that the woman with the shovel uses her Jinky to manipulate the mud, and the guy is using some type of Jinky to just punch hard. But that's not the case. The guy
just be punching.
The guy just be punching. And then Zanka explains how, he saw that one of them is wearing snowshoes. And before she brought out the clay dolls, he hunkered down and did something. And he's got that southern drawl, He'd be saying y'all.
Yeah, he said y'all 400 times.
He's saying y'all 400 times. And he'd also be saying something. I guess he just talks like that slang, but that's how it is. And he explains how the snowshoes allow them to walk on unstable ground easier, and basically they're a perfect match for each other, and that possibly, it's not really how they what they're doing is not obvious, but he figured it out, and then they get pissed off because he figured it out. She starts getting angry, yelling at him. Krillin just a little bit slightly surprised, but he doesn't really say anything.
He doesn't speak much, does he?
No, he doesn't. And then Zanka just starts trash talking because I guess he got pissed, and he's explaining how he literally is the Jinky user, and he knows his Jinky better than anyone.
He's that guy.
He's like, I perfectly memorized its weight, smell, feel, even asked about its mood today. So I don't know what that's all about, but obviously Zanka cares about his Jinky very much, and that ties back to the idea that these people take care of their Jinky, incredibly well, to be able, they foster that soul in it by really treating it with as much respect as possible. And in Zanka's case, Engine explains that he is the best with using his Jinky, so it makes sense that he takes care of it to the degree that he asks about its mood. And he like he says, he listens to it. and that allows him to have a perfect understanding of this Jinky. And then he uses a new ability with his Jinky, which is seemingly pushing it into the ground and being able to feel the vibrations.
Toph.
What?
He's like Toph from
yes.
Avatar.
Yeah, very similar to Toph from Avatar. And so he can feel the vibrations, and he kind of like, we have this weird effect coming from him, which I'm assuming is like the Jinky, obviously like vibrating and shaking. And then he's able to feel which like doll is housing housing Krillin. And then he can obviously, detect him and then whack him and easy clap both of them. And then surprisingly, both of them go down with one hit because Zonka's just that raw. And of course,
they were kind of bozos.
Yeah, and of course the art got to complement the entire scene of just why not.
Yeah, the scene of Zonka like sliding away as he just beat the shit out of both of them with one hit. Mm-hmm.
And then he continues to trash talk them, and then finally we see Zonka let his guard down, and then Dreadlocks dude right behind him, ready to pounce. Probably will fuck that dude up next chapter. Probably. Even this panel alone, I love it so much because we get a better look at Dreadlocks dude, even if it's not that good of a look. Right? Even if he's still covered in 90% ink, he's still... This is still a much better shot. And, we could also see that he's wearing similar clothes to the Vandals with that sort of cushioning. I don't know how to explain it.
You can tell that he's been around for a while because, they said that the Vandals became vicious years ago. So he's been up to something. I'm assuming he's the one who made them vicious. He probably took over, whatever. And he's evil.
Right.
And he's been doing evil shit, evil experiments for years. Mm-hmm. And I like the panel right after they show him behind Zanka. You could see the fucking fear in Zanka's eyes. You already know. Like, he ain't even looking at this dude and he's terrified.
Yeah. Because unfortunately he did let his guard down. And now I hope nothing bad happens to Zanka, but then again, Zanka is completely alone.
Yeah.
So
I hope Rudo does some dumb shit and like saves him or something. But you already know his dumbass will probably be captured.
Well, yeah. Anyway, that's the chapter. I thought it was raw. What you thinking?
I thought it was great. It was awesome. I love the fights were cool. Art was great. There's some really standout panels. Just it was a great chapter.
I said this before, but I think it's kind of exacerbated with this chapter in that like the Jinky are so versatile, and there's really no limit to what a Jinky could do already in chapter 13.
Using the trowel or shovel or like gardening shovel, whatever it is, to create mud and have people sink into the mud and collect mud dolls that can move and box with people is so cool. It really is cool. It's like not something you would think of. Yeah. You see that in Naruto where they use like dirt manipulation and create dirt dudes, right? But this is like someone who has a shovel, right? And they're probably good at gardening or whatever, and they manipulate dirt or they make clay structures, and that is what their power is. And that is really cool and super unique and super powerful. It was working against Zanka, but Zanka, he crazy, so he won.
In the beginning chapter, in the beginning chapters, I assumed that like Jinky would start out as just glowy weapons, glowy weapons that were like, weird assorted items, like Ryo's scissors and Engine's umbrella. But I can see even with someone like Zanka, they can really like, I don't want to say they pull these abilities out of their butt, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I think we can say it's a little bit of a stretch. So the idea that Zanka knows the weight and like smell and feel of his weapon so well that he can stick it in the ground and tell what the vibrations are feeling, that is such a stretch. I'm willing to take it. I'm willing to accept it because it was done in such a cool way. But sometimes some of these I feel like could be a little bit further explained, like this random Vandal's shovel. It could use a little bit more explanation. And I feel like, the possibilities are already so crazy.
Yeah, possibilities are pretty endless. And you also have really, like, kind of stupid fucking Jinky, like the guy's snowshoes. What the hell is the use case for that except for Mud Woman existing?
I don't know. But what I do know is like I want to see Dreadlocks as Jinky already.
Oh yeah. I want to see this man's power.
My guess is that his ability with whatever Jinky he has is to turn Jinky into aberrant beasts. That's what I'm guessing.
That's what I would be guessing as well.
But it could be anything. I know that he looks awesome. I hope.
Yeah, he looks so cool and so intimidating. Yeah,
I know how important first impressions can be for villains, so I hope that he keeps this like top tier art on him all the time. I know that's not realistic, but you know, like I really do have to commend the art. I know we were talking about it before in our previous videos, but like I really do think this manga is already up there.
Yeah, no, it's getting up there for me. It's really good. And there's also one more thing I have to say. I just remembered reading it, and I went back to the chapter to see it. The clay lady, she said she's talking to Zanka, right? And Zonka's like, there aren't any aberrant beasts, right? She says, although we don't have aberrant beasts, we do have clay dolls. I know that could just be like throwaway, but I think that all but confirms in a way that they're in control of them. Like they're doing something, and I really do think it's confirming that Dreads is creating the aberrant beasts and possibly controlling them or releasing them and allowing them to run rampage, or some of them at least, with the Jinky inside of them.
I see. And I guess I gotta commend Zanka. Very well done for his first fight, first fight against humans, or what I believe to be his first fight against humans. But this also does beg the question, the janitors probably have a lot of growth to do if like Zanka is their best fighter.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. He still did very good, but I'm assuming that most of the janitors are probably bozos.
I think we're going to get an Attack on Titan moment where it's like a lot of them are going to have trouble fighting people at first, and then eventually just get over it and start beasting on dudes. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, but that's pretty much it for this chapter. Not too complicated, but still, nevertheless, in my opinion, one of the best chapters so far.
I think it's the best chapter so far.
Wow, yeah, really do. Maybe I could agree with that. But anyway, next issue coming around, and remember, do your best to purchase Volume 1 in any way you can and support the official release.
I will be buying that bit in English as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, we're out.